I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. Shouldn't be trusting me, I could be making it all up, you know. Control, you don't know me. I'm a danger to myself.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me. All right, I'm sorry if I'm talking a little bit quiet. I am recording this up in my bedroom, and my little one is asleep not that far away. I just wanted to get this out, okay? So this is going to be basically the closing arguments in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, which, you know, I've been covering here and there this whole entire time. So I just figured if I didn't get this out today, it's going to start getting to the point where it's just old news. So let's get into closing arguments. So Camille Vasquez and Ben Chu had me in tears. Once while she was speaking and once while he was speaking, because their voices cracked as well. And there were some points where Johnny just kind of closed his eyes and just looked like he was back reliving the moment, and it was not a pleasant one. So, Camille, of course, brought her beautiful and adorable little self there to slay today. Immediately, Camille starts talking about how deeply troubled, cruel, violent, and abusive AH is. She talks about Dr. Curry's diagnosis of borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, and how those disorders create a person who is very desperate in their need for approval from other people, and how they have the ability to both idolize and devalue others, which is exactly how AH described Johnny Depp at the beginning. She idolized him, but after basically a year, she began to devalue him, and it just got worse as time went on. She talked about people with these personality disorders having the ability to be very charming, but also to be very aggressive and cruel. And I'm going to add this, okay? While Amber will not admit that she has borderline personality disorder or histrionic, we can see that she carries these traits. We have all seen it, and we've all heard it when we listen to the audio. We have heard it from people testifying on the stand. We have heard it from Kate James, her ex-assistant, who talked about how Amber spit in her face. We heard from her best friend, or should I say ex-best friend, Raquel Pennington, who told us that Amber had hit her once. And I don't believe it was just once, but she told us she hit her once just because Rocky failed to do something the way that AH wanted her to. I keep flip-flopping Amber to AH because I'm trying to say AH, but I wrote Amber. So we heard from Beverly, the officer that arrested Amber at the airport after witnessing her hit Tasha Van Ree. We know that AH suffers from a very deep-rooted fear of abandonment, and we've seen it and heard it again in the audio. She was terrified of Johnny leaving her. The marriage counselor testified to that as well. We heard testimony from Travis McGivern, Debbie Lloyd, and Tara, one of the groundspeople at the Australia home where Johnny was staying when he was filming Pirates 5, all of which agreed and testified to AH being the main aggressor, and at times even striking Johnny when he would try to leave the situation. We heard audio of Johnny talking to Amber about how she chased him through 5 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms after the incident in Australia, where he lost his finger. That to me doesn't sound like someone who was just SA'd. They are not going to chase someone in and out of rooms to try to go near them. In fact, I would be surprised she was ever near him ever again if he didn't want to be. We are also not idiots, right? We saw the photos that were presented in court, the snarky messages in red lipstick on the mirror that were written back to Johnny while he was having his nervous breakdown, writing in blood and paint all over the house and on the mirrors and the lampshade. We also have AH's own admissions on audio that was presented and on the stand that she has physically hit Johnny Depp. She can play a role on the stand all she wants, but the audio is the real AH. She wants people to believe her. Not their own eyes, not their own minds, not common sense. She wants us to see things in photos that aren't there. She wants us to believe that certain photos that are identical and have the same timestamps and data are actually two separate times, alluding to two separate incidences of AB. She wants us to believe that donating and pledging are the exact same thing. She also wants us to believe that she can change her testimony at any given time, but yet it's all true, even if it contradicts something that she has previously testified to. And finally, she wants us to ignore our own ears when we hear what we hear on the audio that has been played throughout the trial, frequently telling us that that's not what she said, even though we have just heard with our own ears what she said. We heard Morgan Tremaine, an ex-employee of TMZ, on the stand telling us that he was tipped off to have the paparazzi at the courthouse on the morning of May 27th, the day that AH filed the TRO against Johnny Depp in order to catch an alleged bruise on Miss Heard's face, and that she would pause in order to allow them to capture that photo. 1 month after that incident, there was a cover on People magazine of her with another bruise, which she wants us to believe her divorce attorneys sold to People magazine, because she had nothing to do with that either. Exactly 3 months before she wrote the op-ed for the Washington Post, she had sent an arbitration letter to Johnny's lawyer after she had been given the $7 million. And in this arbitration letter, she was asking for even more. She was asking for more money, more assets, which included an antique Mustang, a Range Rover, and other property, and there was more. I called it an extortion letter, but it's an arbitration letter, and while technically, legally, it was an arbitration letter, I tend to slip up sometimes when I refer to it as an extortion letter, but really that's because what else was within this letter was not just what she wanted, but what she was going to do to Johnny if she didn't get it. And that was to go public with these abuse allegations that she had started in the past. Which 3 months later she eventually did anyway, even though I do believe he gave her all she asked for. Now, I think any of us who actually watched her testify, even if it was briefly, we have all seen her behavior on the stand, and we have all been shocked and overwhelmed. At least I was just straight up shook, actually, at her performance on the stand. What we all noticed about this performance was that she had a hard time shedding a tear. And Christina Sexton, her acting coach, testified on the stand that AH often had difficulty crying while acting. And we all witnessed that firsthand during this trial, didn't we? Amber Heard wants us to believe that there are mountains of evidence proving that Johnny Depp was physically and abusive to her throughout their marriage and relationship, yet there is no evidence of either of these things. There are no audio, there are no videos, there are no photos, there are no admissions by either Johnny or Amber on audio or any other type of recording or text that actually says he is sorry for these things or her accusing him of doing these things. She doesn't even accuse him of doing them and him deny it. They're just not said ever. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is a woman who recorded everything. Anything she felt would be damaging to him, she presented. And it would have been extremely easy for her during any of those audio sessions to bring up any physical or sexual abuse that he had done to her, and either had him apologize, because he was saying he's sorry. Why doesn't she say, why did you do this? Never. Not in a text, not an audio, nothing. Yet she saved text and audio all over the place. There also isn't anything to anyone else after it happened. Not a friend, nothing. But her team would like us to believe that makes us assholes for, and victim blaming and shaming because she didn't have these things. Not in this case. Being a public figure, her photo was taken countless times, and there is not one of her in a public photo that shows anything that looks like injuries of IPV. The only photos we have showing anything like that are ones that she took of herself or her best friend took of her. And it was testified to by an expert in digital forensics that the bruised photos were tampered with and kept in an editing software app. In my opinion, Johnny's lawyer, Ben Chu, summed it all up perfectly. He said she jumped behind the Me Too movement, but there has not been a single Me Too. In fact, instead of having people coming out of the woodwork saying he did this to me too, we have quite the contrary. Kate Moss, who never speaks publicly, even took the time out of her life to make sure that the world knew that Johnny Depp had never physically harmed her, and more importantly, that the staircase incident was false. He had never thrown, pushed, or kicked her down any stairs ever. She did indeed, Amber, that is, not Kate Moss, Amber did indeed put on the performance of her life, where she played the heroic survivor of domestic violence, and Johnny Depp played the villain as the perpetrator. Bottom line, when AH wrote that op-ed, it was about Johnny Depp. She knows it. The Washington Post editors know it because his name was in the rough draft. After the paper copy went out, AH republished the online version by adding the link to a tweet, captioning that tweet, "Today I published this on the Washington Post." The sentence, "2 years ago I took a stand." This is the sentence that seals her fate, in my opinion, because almost 2 years to the day of writing the op-ed and publishing it, she had filed a temporary restraining order against Johnny Depp for domestic abuse. And this was done with malice, and we know this simply because she has firsthand knowledge of her relationship with Johnny Depp, and she knows that none of this physical or SA that she accused him of ever happened. She wants everyone to believe that there are these mountains of evidence to support her claims, but in fact, There are only mountains of evidence against them. Ben Chu got a little choked up when he said the last few sentences in his closing statement, and so did I. He said, "This case is about truth, restoring his reputation, showing his children that the truth is worth fighting for." And it is. It is. As far as Amber's counterclaim of defamation from the Adam Waldman tweets, I don't even care to get into it. Adam Waldman tweeted the truth, in my opinion. When he called her claims of AB a hoax. Johnny Depp was his client, and he believed his client was innocent. And if Johnny Depp is innocent, then that makes everything that AH has said and claimed a lie, a hoax. So if you're wondering the exact questions that the jury needs to answer in order to make a verdict, these are the 7 questions that they must answer. Number 1, that AH did in fact publish or republish the op-ed in order to gain a new audience. I believe she did. Her Twitter following. She retweeted it with the link, making it a republished thing to a new audience. Number 2, that the article was in fact about Johnny Depp. Well, who else was it about? 2 years ago? To the day, basically. And while it couldn't be said necessarily, his name was in the rough draft. That was testified to. 3, that the allegations made in the article are false. I believe that they are. And I believe that they've proven that. That the allegations made in the article were defamatory. Well, of course they were. Not only were they false, but they were of something very serious. And he lost a lot of work because of it. Is number 5, that the article was written and designed with intention by the defendant, AH, which we all know that it was, although she's trying to say that it wasn't. She's trying to say that the editors are who actually wrote that op-ed. Yet when she retweeted it, she said, "I just published this," aka I just wrote this. This is me. This is my story. Number 6, that the article conveyed a defamatory implication to someone else publicly besides Johnny Depp. It sure as hell did. I mean, he lost work because of it. He lost fans because of it. His family went through hell because of it. And number 7, that the article was written with malicious intent and or reckless disregard of the truth. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I know I can answer yes to all of those. Every single one of them. And I have watched the trial continuously, painstakingly, every day, every minute. And I've heard everything. And I can definitely answer yes to all 7 of those questions. So I really hope that the jury can too. Now, we had some closing arguments, obviously, from Amber's side of things, and I don't know, I think I'm going to make a second video of that, so, because we're already getting close to 20 minutes, and I don't want to have a problem uploading, so, we will see you in the next upload, or I will see you in the next upload, and, chew on what I just said. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments section. Talk to you guys later.